I'm a bear, that's not the opening I practice, but it's the one that matters. I'm a bear. I sit in a leather chair, I drink whiskey, I smoke cigars that cost more than some people's car payments, which, when you think about it, says something about the world we're living in. But that's a different conversation. I ask questions. And I've been told my entire life that asking questions is not a career, not a respectable path, not something you put on a resume or bring home to your family and say, hey, I made a living out of pure curiosity. Turns out it is now. Before we go any further, I want to be clear about something. This isn't a show about me. I don't have credentials. I don't have letters after my name. I didn't go to a fancy school. I don't sit on boards. I'm not part of the machine that decides what you're allowed to think about. I'm just a bear. What I am is tired. Tired of watching people swallow their questions because they've been taught that asking them is dangerous. Tired of watching smart people get smaller because the culture decided that curiosity is a threat. Tired of the silence. So here's what I did. I built this room, I poured a drink, I lit a cigar, and I started thinking about one thing. What if I just asked? What if I invited people in? People who actually know things, people who've lived things, people who've thought about the hard questions, and we just talked about the things nobody's supposed to talk about anymore. No permission slips. No fact checkers breathing down our neck in real time. No 7-second delay waiting for someone in a suit to decide if what we just said is approved for human consumption. Just two people, maybe three, talking about what's real. That's the whole show. Let me tell you something about being a bear. You get a lot of assumptions thrown at you. People assume you're angry, assume you're dumb, assume you want to fight everything you see, assume that you operate on instinct and nothing else. I'm not saying that's always wrong, but here's what I actually am. I'm curious. I'm the kind of person who sees a locked door and wants to know what's behind it. Not to steal anything, not to burn the place down, just to understand. What's on the other side? Why is it locked? Who decided it should be locked? Are they protecting something or protecting themselves? I believe in God. I'm a Christian. Not the kind that beats you over the head with it, the kind that thinks faith is personal, that is between you and whatever force you believe moves the universe. I think the Constitution is real and it matters. I think hard work means something, that people should earn what they have. But I also think that when someone falls through the cracks, we have a responsibility to help them back up. Not because government says so, because we're human. I think there's good in everything, and there's evil in everything. It's not that some people are good and some are bad, it's that we're all capable of both. And the question worth asking is, what are you choosing right now in this moment? I think powerful people keep secrets, not because I'm paranoid, but because that's what power does. It creates asymmetry. Information is power, and power keeps information close. That's not a conspiracy theory, that's just how the world works. And I think people have a right to be curious about it. I think science is real. The universe follows rules. But I don't always trust the people telling me what those rules are, especially when there's money involved, especially when the story keeps changing. That doesn't make me anti science, it makes me pro question. And I think truth matters more than anything else, more than being liked, more than being safe, more than being right. Truth, even when it costs you something, especially then. There are conversations that people are afraid to have. Not because they don't care about the answers. They do. They're desperate for them. They lie awake at night thinking about them. They bring them up at dinner and watch the room go quiet. They text their friends these questions at 2 a.m. because they need to say it to someone. But somewhere along the way, and I'm still not sure exactly when or how it happened, we decided that asking certain questions made you dangerous, made you stupid, made you one of those people, the kind of person you don't want to be associated with. And so the questions went underground. People stopped asking them in public, stopped putting their real thoughts in their own words, started accepting scripts, started repeating what they were told to repeat, started looking over their shoulder to make sure they were still thinking the right things. The world got quieter and smaller. I got tired of it. I'm not smart enough to have all the answers. I'm not credentialed enough to command a room. What I have is curiosity, and I refuse to apologize for it. So I stopped waiting. I stopped waiting for someone with a degree to have this conversation. I stopped waiting for permission from the people who decide what we're allowed to think about. I built this room. I sat down in this chair. I poured this drink. I lit this cigar. And I decided I'm going to have the conversations that need to happen. And I'm going to invite you in. Here's what we're going to talk about on this show. We're going to talk about psychedelic, not because I'm trying to sell you on a trip, but because there are real questions about consciousness, about the nature of experience, about whether our brains are telling us the truth about reality. Those are important questions. Science is asking them. But you're afraid to ask them because you think you'll sound crazy. You won't. Not here. We're going to talk about politics, but not like the news does it, not left versus right, not red versus blue. We're going to talk about power, about who has it, how they use it, what they're willing to do to keep it. And yes, sometimes that's going to make you uncomfortable. Good. Comfort is the enemy of growth. We're going to talk about religion, about faith, about whether God exists, what God is, why people believe different things. I'm Christian, but I'm not here to convert you. I'm here to understand you. There's a difference. We're going to talk about AI, about whether it's going to save us or kill us, or probably something in between, about what happens to human beings when we can outsource our thinking to a machine, about whether we're smart enough to use the tools we've built. We're going to talk about government, about secrets, about why people who work in government lie differently than regular people lie, about what they know that we don't. We're going to talk about science, about the difference between the thing itself and the people who speak for it, about why good scientists are skeptical, and why too many people who claim science aren't skeptical enough. They're just faithful to a different God. We're going to talk about family, about what it takes to build something that lasts, about what love actually is when you strip away the greeting cards and the movies. We're going to talk about value, what has it, what doesn't, who decides. We're going to talk about meaning, about the gap between what we're told and what we see with our own eyes. And here's the thing about all of these conversations. They're the conversations you're already having in your head, late at night, with your closest friends, the things you wonder about when nobody's listening. This show is just permission. Permission to say it out loud. Permission to be wrong. Permission to change your mind. Permission to ask the question without being labeled. But we're going to do this with rules because freedom without rules is just noise. First rule, truth, no matter what. If a guest comes in here and lies, we call it. If I'm wrong about something, I'll say it. If the conversation takes us somewhere uncomfortable, we go there. Comfort is not the goal. Truth is. Second rule, no sides. This isn't about politics or ideology or which team you're on. It's about understanding. There are smart people on every side of every issue. There are stupid people on every side too. We're not here to win, we're here to understand. Third rule, no agenda. I'm not trying to radicalize you. I'm not trying to convert you. I'm trying to understand you. And I'm asking you to understand the guests. Meet them where they are. Listen to them like you'd want to be listened to. Fourth rule, questions over answers. An answer closes the door. A question opens it. If we ever stop asking and start telling, we've failed. We're here because we don't know. And we're okay with that. Fifth rule, the guest knows more than me about their thing, about their experience. My job isn't to catch them in a lie or prove that I'm smart. My job is to understand what they know that I don't, to ask the questions that matter, to be curious like a human, not defensive like a politician. And here's the unwritten rule, the one that matters most. This is a safe place to think, to question, to change your mind, to admit what you don't know. We're not going to agree about everything. That's good. If we did, one of us would be necessary. But we're going to be honest, and we're going to listen, and we're going to give each other the space to be wrong and to become right. That's it. That's the whole thing. You're watching this because somewhere inside you, there's a question that won't go away, something you've been told not to think about, something that doesn't add up, something that the official story doesn't quite explain. And you're tired of carrying that question alone. That's not weakness. That's not crazy. That's actually the sanest thing you could do. The healthiest people I know are the ones who are willing to ask. The people who've lost their minds are the ones who stopped. I know I'm asking a lot. I'm asking you to sit with me in this room. I'm asking you to listen to people you might disagree with. I'm asking you to consider ideas that scare you. I'm asking you to be brave enough to change your mind. But I think you already are brave. I think that's why you're here. Every episode, we're going to do this same thing. Someone's going to come through that door, someone who knows something, someone who's thought about something, someone who's lived through something, and we're going to sit down and we're going to talk. Sometimes it's going to blow your mind, sometimes it's going to piss you off, sometimes you're going to think I'm an idiot for believing what they're saying. That's okay. That's actually perfect. That means you're thinking. I don't expect you to believe everything you hear here. That would be just as bad as believing nothing. I expect you to think, to question, to investigate, to come to your own conclusions. Use this show like you'd use a library. Take what's useful, leave what isn't, test it against reality, see if it holds up. And if it doesn't, come back and tell me. Tell us. We're learning together. Oh, and one more thing. I'm a bear with a podcast. I don't have a publicist. I don't have a marketing team. I don't have a budget for billboards or ads or any of that. What I have is you and the people you know. So if something in this room resonated with you, if something made you think or laugh or made you mad or made you feel like you finally heard someone say the thing you've been thinking, tell somebody, share it, drop it in a text to that one friend who asks all the questions nobody wants to answer. Send it to your brother who can't stop talking about the government. Forward it to whoever in your life is tired of the noise. Subscribe. Leave a comment. Tell me what you want to talk about. Because here's the thing, I'm building the guest list right now. And if enough people want to know about something, I'm going to find the best animal in the world who knows that thing, and we're going to sit down and figure it out together. I'm not asking you to like it. I'm asking you to share it if it was worth your time. That's the only currency that matters here. All right? That's the last time I do that. I promise. Probably. So here's what I want to say on this first episode to every person who's brave enough to sit in this room with me. Thank you for being curious, for not settling, for refusing to pretend that you don't have questions, for being willing to be wrong, for being willing to be right, for showing up. We're going to have some incredible conversations. We're going to meet some fascinating people. We're going to ask questions that nobody's asking. We're going to find some answers, and we're going to find a lot more questions. And it's all going to matter. Because the conversations we have, the questions we ask, the ideas we're willing to explore, that's what keeps us human. That's what keeps us free. That's what keeps us from becoming robots, just repeating what we've been told. I'm just a bear. I don't have all the answers, but I've got a room, I've got curiosity, and I've got faith that if we ask the right questions, together we'll find something true. To truth, to curiosity, to having the conversations that matter, and to you for being here. Welcome to He is a Bear.
He is a bear.